Chuck Norris jokes. When the president pushes the big red button, Chuck Norris's cell phone rings. Little Johnny jokes. The teacher wrote on the blackboard, "I ain't had no fun in months." Then asked the class, "How should I correct this sentence?" Little Johnny raised his hat and replied, "Get yourself a new boyfriend." Jokes about life. A man goes to the doctor with a long history of migraine headaches. When the doctor does his history and physical, he discovers that the poor guy has tried practically every therapy known to man for his migraines and still no improvement. "Listen," says the doc, "I have migraines, too, and the advice I'm going to give you isn't really anything I learned in medical school, but it's advice that I've gotten from my own experience. When I have a migraine, I go home, get in a nice hot bathtub, and soak for a while. Then I have my wife sponge me off with the hottest water I can stand, especially around the forehead. This helps a little. Then I get out of the tub, take her into the bedroom, and even if my head is killing me, I force myself to have sex with her. Almost always, the headache is immediately gone. Now, give it a try, and come back and see me in 6 weeks." 6 weeks later, the patient returns with a big grin. "Doc, I took our advice and it works. It really works. I've had migraines for 17 years and this is the first time anyone has ever helped me." "Well," says the physician, "I'm glad I could help. By the way, Doc," the patient adds, "you have a really nice house." Jokes about life. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. After that, everything else was made in China. Jokes about men. 4 friends spend weeks planning the perfect desert camping and riding trip. 2 days before the group is to leave, Rob's wife puts her foot down and tells him he isn't going. Rob's friends are very upset that he can't go, but what can they do? 2 days later the 3 get to the camping site only to find Rob sitting there with a tent set up, firewood gathered, and supper cooking on the fire. "Dang man, how long you been here and how did you talk your wife into letting you go?" "Well, I've been here since yesterday. Yesterday evening I was sitting in my chair and my wife came up behind me and put her hands over my eyes and said, 'Guess who?' I pulled her hands off and she was wearing a brand new see-through nightie. She took my hand and took me to our bedroom. The room had 24 candles and rose petals all over. She had on the bed, handcuffs and ropes. She told me to tie and cuff her to the bed and I did. And then she said, 'Now, you can do whatever you want.' So here I am." Dirty jokes. I told my crush at school, "If you love me, come wearing red tomorrow." The next day she came in wearing black. When she dropped her pen and she bent over to pick it up, I got a look up her skirt at her red thong. Moral of the story, she really loves me underneath it all. Marriage jokes. A little boy asked his father, "Daddy, how much does it cost to get married?" And the father replied, "I don't know, son, I'm still paying for it." Jokes about women. A new vacuum cleaner salesman knocked on the door on the first house of the street. A tall lady answered the door. Before she could speak, the enthusiastic salesman barged into the living room and opened a big black plastic bag and poured all the cow droppings onto the carpet. "Madam, if I could not clean this up within 5 minutes with the use of this new powerful vacuum cleaner, I will eat all this dung," exclaimed the eager salesman. "Do you need chili sauce or ketchup with that?" asked the lady. The bewildered salesman asked, "Why, madam, there's no electricity in the house," said the lady. Marriage jokes. A woman got married, but her husband was abusive. She got remarried and that husband ran out on her. She got married again and that husband failed in bed. Finally, she put an ad in the paper, looking for a man who won't abuse me, won't leave me, and won't fail me in bed. The next day, the doorbell rings. There is a man with no arms and no legs. "Hello, I saw your ad in the paper," he says. "Tell me a little about you." "Well, I have no arms, so I can't hit you. I have no legs, so I can't run out on you," he replies. "How do I know you're good in bed?" she asks. He says, "I rang the doorbell, didn't I?" Dirty jokes. Guy, can I buy you a drink? Girl, sorry, but alcohol is bad for my legs. Guy, do they swell? Girl, no. They spread.